So, what if the most important story ever told is actually the one you tell about yourself? I mean, really think about that. What if who you are isn't some fixed set of facts, but a story? A narrative you're writing, editing, and performing every single day. Dear book lovers, welcome to another insight-packed book summary here at Summaripia. We are all about bringing you more titles in less time. And today, oh man, we are about to unpack a book with some seriously profound ideas on how stories literally shape our entire world.
That's right. Today, we're diving into Robert Fulford's incredible book, The Triumph of Narrative. Now, if you're anything like me and you've ever been fascinated by how stories, and I'm talking everything from your own personal history to the global news, how they shape literally everything around us, well, you are absolutely in the right place. All right, let's get into it. The story of you, and check out that subtitle. It all begins with gossip. We're going to start with the most fundamental story there is, the one about you. And where does it start? Well, its origins are probably not what you'd expect. See, Fulford argues that it all begins with something we do every day, gossip. So Fulford's big idea here is that gossip isn't just, idle chatter. Nope. He says it's the raw material of all storytelling. It's kind of like our first, most basic attempt to make sense of the world. Think about it for a second. The famous novelist Saul Bellow, his masterpiece, Herzog, it was basically high art gossip, totally born from the real-life scandal of his wife having an affair. So at its core, you could say that great literature is often just gossip, but with a much better vocabulary.
Okay, and this leads us to a really crucial concept, what he calls fictions of the self. Basically, we are all authors of our own life story. We pick and choose key events, we create a plot, and we present a character, which is us, to the world. This story we build, that is our identity. It's the thing that gives our random, sometimes chaotic lives a sense of meaning and purpose. But what happens when people feel like their real story just isn't good enough? Well, take this guy, George Dupree. After World War II, he was surrounded by all these veterans with these incredible, heroic tales, and he felt like he had nothing. Fulford calls it narrative deprivation. So you know what he did? He just invented a new story. He became this celebrated war hero who'd been tortured by the Gestapo, all because he so desperately needed a story that mattered. And hey, this isn't just something from way back when. Much more recently, you had the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, Tim Johnson. He actually got fired for lying about serving in the Vietnam War. So why would he do that? Well, it seems he used these made-up stories of danger and death to try and motivate his players. He probably believed his real, less dramatic life story just wasn't powerful enough to make him a respected leader. But for the most extreme example of this, you have to hear the story of Archie Bellany. This was an Englishman who was so completely obsessed with Native American culture that he packed up, moved to Canada, and just became a man named Grey Owl. I mean, he dyed his hair, darkened his skin, and lived his part so convincingly that he became a world-famous conservationist. In his case, the fiction didn't just enhance his reality, it completely replaced it. Just wow. Okay, so we've seen how individuals live inside their own stories. But what happens when you zoom out? What about entire societies? Well, Fulford says that just like we have personal narratives, whole societies are built on these grand, sweeping stories he calls master narratives. So what exactly is a master narrative? Well, it's not just a story we hear, it's a story we are meant to live inside. It's like the operating system for a whole culture. It's the lens they use to understand their history and justify what they're doing right now. A perfect example is the Cold War. That wasn't just about politics, right? It was this epic story of good versus evil, and that single narrative shaped how millions of people saw the entire planet for more than 40 years. And here's the thing. These master narratives, they can rise and fall, just like empires. Take the historian Arnold Toynbee. Back in the 40s and 50s, this guy was a global superstar. I mean, he had this grand theory that explained the rise and fall of all civilizations. It was a huge bestseller, he was on the cover of Time magazine, hailed as a prophet. But then, the 1960s roll around and other historians start poking holes in his work, picking it apart. And just like that, his grand narrative completely collapsed. It just goes to show, even the most powerful stories can die. All right, so where can we see these powerful storytelling forces at work in our own lives? Fulford points to two places that, on the surface, you'd never think are similar: urban legends and the daily news. You know what I'm talking about, right? We've all heard one of these, like the classic story of the guy who catches his wife cheating, and since he drives a cement truck, he fills her lover's shiny new Cadillac with concrete. It's just a perfect little revenge story. The details are so specific, and it always happened to a friend of a friend. And we believe it, don't we? Because the story is just so darn satisfying. It's almost like a piece of spontaneous, collective art.
Now hold on, because here is the real kicker. Let's compare how an urban legend works to how a news story is put together. An urban legend selects dramatic events. So does the news. An urban legend adds convincing details. The news adds quotes and facts for credibility. They both follow a clear story arc and reflect our collective worries. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the news isn't just a fire hose of raw facts. It is a carefully constructed story. And sometimes the truth gets shaped to fit that story.
So, who is the guy behind all these fascinating ideas? Let's take a quick look at the author, Robert Fulford, because understanding him helps understand the whole argument. See, Fulford isn't some academic locked away in an ivory tower. This guy has been on the front lines of storytelling his entire career. He's hailed as Canada's foremost cultural journalist. He started working in the business way back in 1950. He's seen it all. This gives him a really unique vantage point to see exactly how media, politics, and our whole culture are built on the foundation of stories. He hasn't just studied it, he's seen it happen from the inside out. All right, so after going through all that, what are the really big lessons we should take away from the triumph of narrative? Let's boil it all down to your key takeaways.
Okay, lesson number 1. We are storytelling animals, period. It's how we create meaning in a totally random world. Number 2, your personal identity. It's a story you tell yourself, a fiction of the self. You can edit it. Number 3, entire societies are held together by these big master narratives that define history and values. 4, the news, the media, even those urban legends, they are all forms of narrative that are actively shaping your reality. And finally, and this is the big one, to really understand the world, you have to first learn to see the stories that are controlling it. That's the real challenge.
Thanks so much for watching. If this summary got you thinking, please don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, share it, and of course, subscribe for more impactful book summaries from all of us here at Summarypedia.